Shrishtam Manamapi Shachiputram Atra Sarupam Shri Rupam Tasyagrajam Urupari Matarim Gushtivatam Radha Kundam Girivaramoho Radhika Madhavasham Rapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Nandasosmi He Guru Gyanada Dinabando Swananda Data Koranaika Sindo Vrindavana Sina Hikavata Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara He Dinabando Koranaika Sindo Guru Prasadam Mai Mandamudhe Laksha Paradhe Bahupapa Gadhe Tatapada Padme Stumatishta Krishne Naivo Payantya Pachitim Kavayastevesha Ramayushapi Kridim Rida Udasvaranta Yontar Bahistanubratam Ashubham Vadumban Acharya Chaitya Vapusha Swagatim Vyanakti Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktabinda Nitai Namineche Namirhate Sharamulye Nam Dite Chere Nitai Namineche Namirhate Sharamulye Nam Dite Chere Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm deeply grateful to Srila Prabhupada because he pure-heartedly, without any envy and overcoming all obstacles, gave Krishna consciousness to those who others thought were unqualified. He was criticized, as I heard the other morning. He was giving a talk and he said that my godbrothers, they call me the marrying Swami. And it was in a mean way to say, who does he think he is? And many people had a similar opinion, that who does he think he is to cross the ocean? Hindus don't do that. It's considered a way to profane oneself, to go and mix with mlechas, those outside the varnashram system. And when Prabhupada went to Thompson Square Park, he was asked to move. I was once asked to move when I was in front of a bookshop in New York City, and it really irritated me. As all I was doing was on a public street, I was in front of a bookshop, but out of spite, they came out to say, don't stand here. We don't want you anywhere near our shop. It's a real blow to the ego, especially if you're an American with some sort of privilege, and then you think, I can go anywhere. That's what Americans think, in case you didn't know. I've got an American passport. Just let me in, no questions asked. And to have one of your own countrymen come down and say, get out of here. And Prabhupada sat and he chanted, and the police came along and said, move, as if he was insignificant. Even in Bombay, when Prabhupada was building the Juhu project, the local police director had written that this Hare Krishna chanting everywhere, here, there, and everywhere, especially here in Juhu, is a nuisance. And Prabhupada spoke about it many times after that. So it wasn't without being challenged and being criticized that Prabhupada moved. Even when he was starting in the early days, he had started a project, he had invested time, energy, donations into the League of Devotees, and then someone came along and said, move. We need it for something else. Some other club that had nothing to do with Krishna consciousness, just move. Yet, he was never dissuaded. He came and he tolerated all the various kinds of insults from people who had no idea, no context of what he was doing. And he instilled that in people who had no idea what Krishna consciousness was, but because of the power of his determination to fulfill the order of his spiritual master, they took it from him that this was the right thing to do. And then, of course, intellectually, he presented the idea of taking knowledge from a perfect source, and he convinced devotees to take the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In the process of giving as many people as possible a chance to take Krishna conscious, after all, he traveled around the world at least 14 times. And when he got to Australia, some of the reporting staff that came to interview him were cynical. And one of the reporters, a young woman, said to him, "Do you work?" And Prabhupada smiled and he looked at her and he said, "I work harder than you." He said, "Look at me, I'm an old man and I work harder than you. I've traveled around the world many, many times. I'm traveling everywhere at this old age and I never stop." So Prabhupada had this drive, which is the current coming from the order of his spiritual master. So inspired by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, when you go to Old Danga Junction Road, you can actually see the steps that Prabhupada walked up. I think of them as the steps of destiny, as he was impelled by his friend, "You have to come see this sadhu." He walked up those steps, and then he met his guru, and his guru immediately said, "You should preach." Before he even got up from offering obeisances. You offer obeisances to a sadhu, and then you have to sit back up, but on his way up, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was telling him, "You must preach. You should carry this everywhere around the world." And he said from that moment, he had been inspired within the heart. He had a few objections to be cleared, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta cleared them, and when Prabhupada walked out, he was never the same. This is the power of the order of the disciplic succession. Mukunda Maharaj talks about it when he had been somewhat involved in helping. He had been helping a lot, actually, but he was somewhat committed to Krishna consciousness, inasmuch as I got Prabhupada an apartment, we got him a storefront, now I'm going to go to India and learn music, because he's a musician. And as he was walking out the door on his trip to San Francisco on his way to India, Prabhupada said, "Start a center in San Francisco." The same way Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, "You must preach," before he even got up. On his way out the door, he caught him. The order is so powerful. And then he writes in his book, Miracle on Second Avenue, that he had a little conflict in his mind, some cognitive dissonance. Wait a minute. He just said to me, "I have to start a center in San Francisco." And I was on my way to India. I want to play music. I want to learn the sitar. But he thought, okay, he said it, now I have to do it. And he did. And he was pulled in. Vamandev said, "Just 3 paces of land. That's all I ask," in the Bharatanatyam dance. And then next thing, he's dragged in. And that's Krishna Hari means one who takes us away from all unfavorable circumstances and just fills us up with service, divine service. So that was Prabhupada, and when Prabhupada codified his system, he knew he had that. He had the order of the Parampara. He got it from his guru very clearly. And then he armed it. He put it into an organized system to take over the world. That's what happens when you get the order through Parampara, and then you sit down and think about it and say, let's make this really big. Let's make it go everywhere. Then by the power of the word Aryavachasa, as is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam by Karabhajana Muni, he talks about the order of the Arya, or the superior, is so strong that Ramchandra, when he got it, he just went to the forest. Everyone said, don't do it. He said, no. He said it. Now it has to be done. They went to bring him back. He said, no, my father said it. Now I'm going to do it. And our acharyas say that when the Guru, in the Guru Paramparā, lined up, passing down the same service in ways that someone can take it, says, this is your service, then the Aryavachasa, that order can be taken and as a rope pulls somebody out of a deep well where one's stranded, and that pulls us out of the dark material world and brings us back home, back to Godhead. On Vyāsa Pūjā Day, we're worshiping this principle. There are 28 Vyāsas. They come during the different times of the Manus, empower jivas. Ours, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasadeva, is actually a full incarnation of Krishna, who then, in this age, reveals the Srimad Bhagavatam after getting instruction from his guru, Narada Muni. And we're the recipients of that. And we're the recipients of Prabhupada taking the order of his spiritual master and codifying it. That is, he charted it out. He said, this is how we'll systematically take this to the world. So now that's our opportunity. We're receiving the same message that's coming down. I was listening to Prabhupada just this morning, and he was talking about how being a representative of the Guru Paramparā, he said, it is not complicated. And he said it's not also that you have to be a great scholar. He said you simply have to be faithful to the order. This is the principle, he said. That if you receive it and you're willing to repeat it without alteration, then you become a representative of the Supreme. And Caitanya Mahāprabhu said, everybody is deputized. So his order went out to the whole world. He said, I order every person. It's in the Caitanya Charitamrita, right? Madhuripura. I order every person to take this movement and spread it all over the world. So it's too late. You've already been hit by the order. Even those in the hallway, out in the parking lot, too bad. You're caught. But we can do it the easy way or the hard way. The easy way is to just say, okay, I'll use this whole lifetime just to fulfill the order of the Guru Paramparā through my guru. We get service from someone who's already been given service. And it's amazing, like some of the plants in our garden, like fuchsia. Anybody garden in here and have fuchsia? It's a tenacious plant, right? It grows right in front of our go-down. And then it gets so big, we can't open the go-down door. Sounds like a song, Ananda Murari. Can't open the go-down door. And a while back, one of our gardeners said, you know, you got to get rid of this. It's going into the pipes. It's taking over the door. And I said, okay, go ahead. Make sure fuchsia doesn't come back. So she removed it, or so she thought, because About a year later, it popped up again. One tiny little piece of fuchsia, and it grows into a full plant, and then it takes over everything. In the same way, one tiny little service, if we can get a tiny service, any little thing, please carry this, please go close the door, take this to the other person, start a center in San Francisco, you preach Krishna consciousness in the West. Once we have that little piece, even if it's tiny, Doyal Nitai Caitanya Bole, right? Sticks to you. Then you've got it, then it'll grow. Just like Vamandev. It's like, in the same way, Krishna expands, and it's the order. Prabhupada writes in the second canto in a purport that the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that comes through the Paramparā is the internal energy. I'll repeat that. The order of Krishna that comes through the Guru Paramparā is the internal potency. And then he goes on. He said, and it is by that potency that one comes to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. So Prabhupada knew that, and he took it out. He made it, he weaponized it. He put the holy name into books, magazines. He sent people out, Hare Krishna, every town and village chanting. And we're the inheritors. We're the beneficiaries of all that. That we're awash in transcendental sound vibration that's coming from the spiritual world that's being broadcast through the Sri Guru Paramparā. It's the most fortunate position to be in the world. And anyone who decides that, however imperfect I think I am, I will wholeheartedly take this up, and in my own fledgling way, I'll embrace it, and I'll take it, and I'll expand it, and I'll do what I can, remembering that it's not our power, it's the power of the Guru Paramparā. And if one makes that endeavor and assumes that it can be done because it's not me doing it, it's the greatest spiritual capitalist, Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu, who's signing all the checks. And if you bring an idea and you say, I want to do this, I know I'm a fool. I know I've done a lot of bad things. I want to try, though. Mahaprabhu will sign your check. You go do it. And then from that, it's a way that one comes into is enveloped by the internal energy. And a lifetime of reading Srila Prabhupada's books, which are as deep as millions of oceans, someone might think, yeah, I looked at the Bhagavad Gita, I read the half of the introduction. Yeah, I know everything. Well, the more we go into what he left, the more we realize that it's empowered. And Prabhupada said, I didn't write these books. Krishna wrote them. I was just the instrument. The more we read them, the more we realize that. And the more we just try, in whatever way we can from where we are right now, to take the order and apply it, whatever service we can get. Don't give it up. Don't let it drop. Hold that, because a tiny little flame can burn a whole town down, right? There's an old song about that, about the cow kicked the lantern over, burned down Chicago. Oh, you know that song? And they've come, fire, fire, fire. One flame, one tiny little spark, it can start fire and burn up all the bad intentions within one's hearts, all one's nagging urges that hold us back from actually enjoying life. So I'm grateful to all of you. I'm grateful to be in your association. And there's a way in which, when we're together, we pull one another along, because we feel so grateful, and also we don't want to let anybody down. So we go on, and it's a wild pace that we're on, isn't it? See, Melanie, I was looking at her. She was like, yeah. But we wouldn't want it any other way, right? Say yes. Yes. Because the default outside of that full absorption in some kind of service and expanding it and taking more risks and feeling, the other day I was at my desk and I thought, okay, I'm done for a while, I can take a breather, and then I realized, oh no, I have another meeting right after this. And I heard myself kind of go, like as I was standing up, and I thought of like a horse. You know, it's a horse, sometimes you work them really hard, and I'm like, and I thought, that's a good sound. I was listening to that sound because it's for Krishna. I'm glad I made that noise, that on to the next thing, and I thought I was going to relax for a minute, but not today, not this time. And if we can burn up all of the whimsical ideas we might have for, I want a bottle of water. Fiji. If we can be so absorbed in that mood of service that we've received through the disciplic succession, then it will drown out all of the other nonsensical little tunes. You probably didn't have any iron, right? From earlier, nonsensical tunes running in your head. If you ask me, I can sing you a lot of tunes from the only breakfast cereal made in the shape of animals. That was see, Divyanga's laughing because he knows that. The only breakfast cereal made in the shape of animals. It's still in there from my childhood on television. I got more where that came from. But so many of those, they're a cacophony that go on internally, but the absorption in service and the transcendental sound vibration of Srila Prabhupada's books and the Mahamantra is sufficient, more than sufficient, to overwrite all those sounds and bring us to perfect harmony with the sounds of the spiritual world. Tadvag Visargo, somebody quoted earlier, I think it was Shankari Kaur, Tadvag Visargo Janataga Viplavo. If you can take in that vibration, you stay in the vibration, then Viplavo, then your life will be upgraded completely. So as I was saying, I'm grateful to all of you for sticking together in a mood of cooperation for the sake of honoring the order of the Guru Paramparā, taking service, and faithfully staying absorbed in the transcendental sound vibration. How's that sound as a summary? Something. So we'll run out the clock on the field then, right? Yes. Yeah, only 3 people know what that meant. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Gauranitai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please bless us to recognize the power of the Guru Paramparā. Please let us take advantage of the high association of Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are living by the order of the Guru Paramparā, and please give us service that we can take as sacred and with a wholeheartedness execute to please you, and that we can hold on to in our lives so that we can come back to increase our service again and again. Thank you very much for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna. Hare Thank you, everybody. I'm really deeply grateful that you came here. Some of you from long distances, some of you from short distances, and you put in so much hard work to make this a very celebratory and special day. Hare Krishna.